Okay, so this is the effortless crop, and this is a disconnected haircut, meaning that the top area that we have is longer than the bottom. So this is a very modern day version of a short pixie cut. Now, the first thing I did, this haircut is already cut, and I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter. And then I can use this mannequin, Wendy, for my demonstrations as well. What I did was I took an oval section 2 inches back from the perimeter of the hairline, and I went all the way back in an oval shape on both sides to a 1/2 inch above the occipital bone. So when I visually look at that, what I want to do is visualize an oval versus a circle. The circle is fatter on the sides here, and you can see in the back it would not go further like an egg shape. This oval goes further. So if I put it on my head, you can see the reason why it's an oval is because it's narrower through the sides and it goes down more in the back. Excuse me. Okay? 1 inch above the occipital bone. So this is an oval versus a circle, and you can see a circle would stop right at the crown. So it has to dip further down so that this part is your disconnected and your longer piece. So after I did that, then I section out my fringe area. The fringe goes from the corner of the eye socket right up to the hairline, even on both sides. This will be my fringe area. I take a little clip and I clip that out of the way. Then I take a vertical section down right behind the high point of the right ear as well as the left, and I clipped it out of the way. I did prep her with Fulfill shampoo and condition, and I did spray on the Fanatic 21, which is right here. I'll spray a little bit more on, keeping it about a bottle length away, not overspraying. And now I will proceed to do the fringe area, making sure that you can see me. So I am going to keep my mannequin to you, and I'm going to go to my mannequin so that the students can see me. So what I want to do this fringe area, I want to have my finger angles at 90 degrees from the head. That means that it's pro head shape, working right out from the head. And I want to go, I want it to be about 2 inches in length to be a baby fringe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 vertical sections, and which I just did. Take the other sections out of the way. In my center, I want to feel that head and pull it straight out at 90 degrees from the head. 90 degrees is 90 from the head. 90 from the head. And cut. We're not chipping into it. We're just doing a blunt, solid line. That is my design line. Then I'm going to go to my left side. I'm going to take a small piece that I just cut and a section, and I'm going to move this section to the previous. There's my design line, and I cut straight out at 90. And I go down and I take previous section. You can see that, Candace? Fine?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Move it to the previous section. There it is, and cut. There we go. Going to do the same on the other side. So because I'm teaching this and I want my students to see me, I'm not going to move. Okay? So what I'm going to do is going to move this to the previous So I'm taking up about off a 1/2 inch right now because this has already been cut. Taking another design section or another section, moving this section to the previous. Not all the way to the center. So I first cut to the center, take another section to the previous, take another section to that previous, take another section to that previous. So it's a moving guide. It's a moving guide. Then when you run out of hair, when you get by the eye socket, then you're done. So what we want to do is move it right to that previous section, the last section that we just cut, and bring it down. Then what I want to do is I want to cross check it. So what I want to do then is so that you can see me is I would stand in front of my client to make sure each sides are even. Okay, this is a little bit long right here. So I just want to check that one more time, making sure I'm not over directing it too far. Making sure it's all down in natural fall. Yep. Making it, and we'll do our detail work later, but right now we're going to move them to the right side. Okay, now this is where it's a challenge. So I'm going to, let's see, what's the easiest way of doing this? On my right side, I have to stand in front of my work. So on that side, I just want to make sure that the camera can see me, because this is where she could not see me last time. So now we're going into the side area. Can you see me? Okay, so I have to stand in front. I just want to make sure that you can still see me. You still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we got here is we're going to go to the side section. Our first section, come on, I want to bring this down. Our first section, what we want to do is our design, our guide is the last section of the fringe in the back. So when we take our design line, we're going to take a diagonal back section. Diagonal back, you can see it's angled. I'm gonna move this other hair out of the way. And here in this corner section that I just cut is my guide. That is my guide. So how I look at it is like a little round area right here in the back. That is my guide. So when I bring this up, I am going to mimic, my fingers are going to mimic this angle right here, which is a diagonal back angle. So my fingers are going to look like this. So what I want to do, it's on base. Everything is on base, which means what? On base. Meaning you're not over directing it forward or over directing it back. You bring the hair where it lives. Bring the hair where it lives. That's on base. So here I'm going to mimic my section, making sure I can see it. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. So she can see my fingers. And you're going to mimic that design line and bring it straight out from the head and cut. Perfect. Now, when you get to the bottom area, now that didn't all go in my fingers. So what I want to do is bring it out and bring it up. You're not dragging it down. So your guide is, it's a little bit shaggier on the bottom. The second section is you're going to take a diagonal back section. A diagonal what? Diagonal back section. And my every section is on base. So my second section, my guide is my guide that I just cut. Okay? Diagonal back. Take my fingers, You can see where my guide is. Bring it straight up from the head where the hair lives, straight up from the head. Now I have to move my body, move this back so it's on base, and bring it straight out, straight up. What we don't want to do with this bottom section right here is bring it out to the side. It's not out, it's up. We are mimicking the guide. So it's on base, I bring everything up, and then I cut blunt straight lines. So you can see that we do have a little softening on the edge. The last section is now vertical. The last section will be vertical because once we move on the head, it just gets vertical. So it's more diagonal back as an angle, and then we move it. Now we're straight up and down. So with this section, it's on base. Now I'm just gonna pull it straight out at 90, take a little bit from my previous section, and cut it on base. I'm just cutting a little bit on base. That's it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. However, on the left side, I will be standing in the back so that my finger angle, excuse me, so that my finger angle can be straight up. My finger angle is straight up, so my elbow is straight down. It's a better body position for me so that I'm safeguarding my shoulders and my hips as well as my elbows, okay? And she's, okay, so we've done the fringe area and we done both sides. I cross-checked it to make sure each side was even, and it is. And now we are going to be moving to the back section. Now this was previously cut because this was a longer version and now I'm making it a little shorter. So I can have this mannequin be another mannequin, you know, like this. So I can have two with two different colors and two different lengths. Sometimes people want it a little shorter, some people want it a little bit longer. So we're going to proceed now to the back. Remember, the back, it is what kind of shape? It is an oval shape. So we are going to be mimicking this shape right here. So I am going to be bringing up all this hair using my wide part of the comb, touching the scalp area. I'm going to get this out of the way, making sure that you can see it. Okay, so when I comb this up, I'm going to comb this up very close, and I'm going to use my guide from my previous section. There is my guide, and my angle is the design line of my oval. So when I bring this up, I'm right out from the head, right up until this design line right here, which is this oval shape. And I'm going to cut that right like this, okay? So now that you saw that, I don't know how to do this without standing in the front, or standing in the back, okay, Wendy? Because I have to stand in the back because that's where people are going to stand when they cut. So if I were to cut this, I just want to make sure my hips are square to my model. My hips need to be square to my model. So when I bring this up, I use the wide part of the comb and I cut right, I cut right up into that design line. Right here. Whatever hair falls out, okay? I'm not really worried about that. So I take another vertical section, taking vertical sections, So I'm going to take this vertical section, move this up, go all the way up, bring it all the way up very close to the head, and then you can see where my line is. And the last one goes right to the ear. Take another vertical section where I left off, go all the way up to the oval shaped sectioning. That is my guide of where I bring up all the hair and where I cut it. And this all should be even when you cross check. You want to make sure it's all even. Now it's going to be even if your hips are square to your mannequin or your model. Okay, if you're slouched and you're bringing your shoulder ins when you cut it, you're going to have one short side and a long side. So you have to make sure your hips, whether your feet are horizontal or even vertical, that your hips are square to your model. The other thing is you want to make sure that your elbows are up to your line. Your elbows are up. If they're slagging down, okay, and not up, you're gonna drag your cut, and you're gonna have a lot more length here. So you want to bring your design line up to where your part is, right here. Okay? Any questions? Oh, no one's in the room. Okay, so I guess there's no questions. Okay, and I'm just cross-checking. See, bringing that straight up. See, I do have a little bit of glitch here, so I'm just going to cut that little length. Because it's going to be, if I'm mimicking my line of this oval, then my shape is also an oval, so my shape is rounded. It's a rounded shape. Rounded shape. Just like we visually said at the beginning, it is a rounded shape. So you're following this line and bringing all hair up to that guide. So this line is your guide. And that's it. Okay, so now we're gonna blow dry. Okay, with your blow dry, remember you have to use your conductor on here so that, or your condenser, sorry, not your conductor, your condenser and a flat brush. I use the Denman flat brush. And so high heat is really important, and we're gonna show you how to wrap dry the hair. I want the bottom to be flat, so I'm gonna take my blow dryer and I'm going to go around, okay, with my airflow like this, going down. It's like shingles on a roof. So just pretend that this is water and I want my airflow, right, like my water, to be going down that cuticle layer. Now if it's going down, as I'm doing this, I'm going to get, it's going to do what to the cuticle, everyone? It's going to smooth the cuticle, correct. So once I get into the back area, I want that to also be dry. So, sorry, high heat and tension of the brush is what dries hair. Tension and heat. So I want to make sure I have high heat, really good tension, and working that. So if I have hair here, I'm going to blow dry this up so I can get that dry. Blow dry this up, wrapping it around the hair. Now, I don't stand in one place when I wrap dry. You know, I just don't stand right here. If I'm blow drying here, then I do this, it's sloppy. So what we want to do is we want to move, we want to see and visually see the airflow. So we're moving around the head, keeping it nice and flat, and result going under and smooth. Now, what I did use to let you know I used the fabulous Hydrate Air Dry Cream, which is a product that you can use to air dry your hair with. Doesn't have any parabens and silicones, which is great. Gives a nice airiness, a softness to the hair. But you can see because of high heat and tension, you're getting everything to go under and smooth. I will do the other side and get back to you. Okay, so now we're going to do the detail part of our work, which is putting the emotion into the haircut, what we mean by that with Pureology is putting your flavor or your spin on it, you know. And so what we do first is we do sketching, and this is called surface sketching. And surface sketching is when you do the perimeter. Now I did it already because we have camera malfunction. So anyways, I'm going to show you a little bit of it so you can see it, but I already did it. What I do when I surface sketch is I take my pointer finger and my thumb, say this is very long, and I would take it about 1 inch above the hairline, which you can see it is 1 inch above the hairline. Excuse me, 1 inch below the hairline, 1 inch below the hairline. And I just pick it up and I use my razor, but I use like the first 3 areas of my razor, okay? First 3, I don't know what you call these, first 3 little indents of my razor. And I would pick this up and put in my perimeter, okay? So that's what I did the whole way. As you can see, it gives you a soft edge when you do this surface sketching. Then when I brought it up to the sides, I brought it up forward, okay? So it went from really more of a diagonal going upward with it. Taking it off here, a little bit off here, all the way going up so that both sides, as you can see, are even with your surface sketching. Now we want to do some internal sketching. Internal sketching is done to collapse of shape. So say someone has very thick hair and it puffs out a lot. So when you do sketching with your razor, you want to put your pointer finger right here, right in the center back of your razor, right here, the center back of your razor, and you want to go diagonal from right to left and then from left to right. Now, why would you go diagonal versus straight up and down, right? So who would like to share? Okay, so we don't have an audience, so I'll just give you the answer. What you do is when you go this way, okay, you're taking out the internal parts of the hair. If you just go straight up and down, no hair really comes off. So, and that collapses the shape a lot better. And really this is about where you see the bulk. It's not just doing things haphazardly. It's saying, okay, there was bulk on these sides because these are my corners and I don't want to have a lot of bulk around my corners. So I'm going to sketch lightly from right to left to collapse that shape. You can see the hair coming off of my comb. It's a fresh blade and then going from left to right. And that removes the bulk and collapses the shape. Now, if someone has very fine hair or baby fine hair, this technique is something that you may not want to do because she already has fine hair. But on medium textured hair, thick hair, or even curly hair, you certainly can do that, just making sure that you have a fresh razor and sketching in a way that is methodical, that has meaning and purpose and intent. Then we want to do another technique. Let me get my blenders. And this is called internal feathering. Here we are with our blades. And this is also removing some of the bulk, which I already did. But I'm going to show you, you can take the hair straight out or you can twist it. I twisted mine. And that just gives, when you twist the hair, this is just giving a little bit more movement. And you're just going down and you're taking some of the bulk off. Let me get my comb. Once again, seeing where it should be. This is putting the emotion into your haircut. So this is where the artistry of your haircut becomes personalized to you as the artist. Now you can go right down with it as well if you want. So you just want to make sure that that versus the twisting is just a softer motion. It gives you, I think, just a softer kind of look. And you can see with my air dry cream and my wrap dry, you know, you can feel that there's product in there, but the shape isn't bulky, it's lean. Now, the last part is edging. Edging is where we're gonna do the bang, and I already edged it, and I'm gonna get my regular blades, and this is called edging from out to in, edging from out to in. Another word for it is point cutting. Point cutting. You may know it as point cutting. So when I do that, I have to stand in front of her. So what I would do is pick up my comb and take pieces and go right in and take out some space. So you have some positive and negative space. The positive space is where the hair is. The negative space is where you don't have any hair. So you have a little bit of a softer type edge when you do that. Another way of edging or point cutting is going like this, taking the hair and going down on it. It's also called edging, and this gives you a softer line as well, which I like. If you want a more bold, then you edge like this. But I would never edge someone's face without using a comb. That could be a little dangerous. So what we like to do is use the wide part of the comb and edge going in. And you can see she has a really sweet baby doll type of fringe. Now, the other thing you have to make sure is you got to make sure if you're going to do this kind of fringe that you don't have, you know, a big colic right on this side or this side, because it's going to wing out and it's not going to look good. So with our Ericas, we know that they don't have any kind of colic, so that looks really very nice. Now we're going to go to the top. The top is still wet because we haven't focused on it. Now we're going to bring this all down. And this is where it is disconnected. It is not going to connect to any part of the shape, okay? It's its own entity. It's like its own area. So when we do this, I have to bring this down. And I am going to take a vertical line in the center, right through here. And I'm going to move the other hair out of the way. And I want to make sure that this hair that I'm picking up is longer than any of this hair on the bottom. I am not matching the bottom to the top at all. And this is too much hair for me to take up. So when I take this up, I sort of look at it and I go, well, okay, how long do I want it to be? And I would say it's about 7 inches in length, maybe 6 inches in length, about 6 inches in length. I want it to sit right below the occipital. That's where I want it to sit. So if the hair was really long, I would have to pick it up and, you know, cut all that hair off. So I'm going to feel the head shape, and I'm going to go straight up at 90, and I'm going to estimate that it's going to hit right below the occipital bone, which I did, and then I want to feather it out. so it's a softer edge. Then I'm going to take the continued area of it. Now I'm bringing it up from the high point of the head to the top. And I'm going to have my fingers go from short to long, and I'm going to get beautiful shape this way with having a round from the back of the high point. It is pro head shape, meaning straight up at 90, and then when I take this as my guide, here's my guide, I'm going to take this and I'm going to angle my fingers from short to long and take up that hair, okay? Now I'm going to work the same way on both sides, take a vertical section, and I'm going to move this, take this new section, move it to where I was before, and I'm going to over direct it right to that previous first section, going straight up from the head. There's my design guide, and give it a softer edge. And then right when I get to the high point, here's my high point right there, I'm going to angle my fingers up and take it off. Now, all subsequent guides will go to the first section, over directing it to the first section, which was the center section, and all my manipulation of my fingers once I get to the high point of the head will be angled upward like this, okay? Angled upward. So I'm going from then short to long like this. In the back, like I've stated before, it's I feel the head, there it is, straight up at 90, moving all sections to the center, all sections to the center. So what will that do to the sides over here? It will make them longer, and as you can see, they are longer and it is disconnected, a separate entity. We will do the same thing on the other side and get back to you. Okay, so now we're gonna finish the top. So the top needs a little bit of product, so we're gonna use our Hydrate Curology Air Dry Cream. We're gonna take the size of a dime because it's a small area with medium textured hair, and we're gonna put it all the way through, and then we're gonna take our dryer with our condenser on it and our fabulous 9-row Denman, which is everyone's favorite brush. Love this brush, and high heat, and we're gonna wrap dry the front, moving all the hair forward and around. Remember, you want to see the hair. You want to see the hair in your mind, okay? So there it is, in relation to your comb, or in relation to your brush. And you want to skim it right off the base of the head. So you're drying the hair and you're making that cuticle go flat, and the end result to this is a very lean, close to the head, very collapsed style that is smooth. Now I'm going to wrap dry it, going back. So we wrap dry it from front to back, from back to front. There is no real part in this haircut. I guess you can make it if you wanted to have a part. And if you wanted to have a little bit of base lift right at the crown area, then you take your first 3 rows of your Denman, only the first 3 rows, and you bump the base, making sure you get a little bit of lift. Don't worry about those ends. Just focus on the base. Get a little bit of base lift, and then wrapping it dry, making those ends smooth, walking around your mannequin, not staying in one place. A Denman is not to be used like this. A Denman, and I see this in a salon, people use a Denman like a round brush. It's not a round brush. A Denman gives you a bevel on the ends. So if you want that bevel on the ends after you wrap dry it, you take it and you just bevel the ends. So those ends are smooth. You're more delicate in your approach. Okay, and I'm going to continue and we're going to show you the final look. Okay, so now we're going to put some more detail into the top. You know, you always need to put your signature look onto your haircuts. That's why haircuts are, you know, $80 or $65. That's why they're coming to you. So I'm going to do some internal feathering. I love this. This is when I can really go deeper into it, spread that out, and really work the ends and remove some of that bulk. So I just sort of randomly pick up the top. I'm doing it slower so you can sort of see. I wrap my knuckles around so I don't cut them. That's the reason why I do it. And it spreads out the hair. And I can take the hair and remove it. So I bring in my shears and I remove it. Bring in my shears and remove. So it's a sweeping, like, my visuals. Okay. And you can see when you wrap dry and you don't blow dry with a part, there is no real part. Okay? It's just, and you can see how the top does not match the bottom. See? It's disconnected. So you really have to describe what that means to your guests, that the bottom is shorter than the top where you put your pretty egg shape or oval pattern. You can see this is shorter. This lays over the top. That's what we mean by disconnected. 2 haircuts on one head. Then we're going to add a little bit of our cuticle polisher to our hands, and this goes from a cream to a really beautiful, beautiful cream to a gel. No, it's not a gel. It's a cream to a serum. That's right. And we just put a little bit of that in, and it separates the hair. Separates the hair. You know, you can do whatever you want. You want it to be big. You want it to be smooth. It's really up to you. Once again, putting the emotion and your signature look. You know, sometimes I take cuticle polisher. You know, if I want, say if I want that smooth and I want to add texture, I just put my hands in here because I already used the air dry cream in it. And you can see how much texture that gives the hair. I just love it. You know, it's very organic. It's a really beautiful pixie. And I think it's very modern, very soft, very elegant. It's very easy to grow out, and I really like it. So thanks, Wendy. I hope you enjoyed it.